So yeah, huh? I don't know if you heard, but you know, we made the playoffs. The playoffs. Do you fucking believe that shit? You know, it wasn't that long ago. In fact, it was a lot warmer then. I'm freezing my balls off, but that's neither here nor there. It wasn't long ago where I was standing in this very exact spot telling you to go into the 2021 season with no expectations. With no expectations. Just say, fuck it. Nobody thinks we're going anywhere. We don't even think we're going anywhere. So why don't we just, relax? Have some fun for once? Crack a couple beers, take it easy, go Birds. Fuck it, why not? Now look at us. Huh? We're the playoffs. And shame on us. Acting all bougie about it too. Like, a week 18? Oh, heavens no. No, we're going to be resting our starters in anticipation of a playoff run while the rest of the peasants in the NFL play the last game on their regular season schedule. Did I say that we were in a rebuild? Ooh. Pish posh. Speaking of rebuilds, while we're on the topic of conversation, hey, Washington, how about you invest some time and some money rebuilding that Chuck E. Cheese looking ass rust shit bucket of a stadium before someone gets hurt? You know what? Forget about them. They're irrelevant. I want to talk about the Eagles. In fact, I want to make a confession, okay? I want to make a confession to you because I feel like I can talk to you because you and we've been friends for a long time, and I feel like this is a safe spot and it's a judgment-free zone. So I wanted to confess something. And I've never said it out loud during the season because I just didn't have the balls. But all right, here it goes. There was a point in time this season during the first 7 games where I legitimately thought, without exaggeration or embellishment or going over the top, that this might be the worst Philadelphia Eagles team that I have ever seen in my lifetime. And I'm not joking either. I mean, I've seen a lot. I vaguely remember the end of the Rich Kotite years, which were just awful, but I was a little too young to understand. I do remember the end of the Ray Rhodes era, but he was a former coach of the year. I remember the first year of Andy. That did not go well, but he had a great nucleus, a young nucleus, and a lot of promise. The second overall pick at quarterback. I remember the end of the Andy era, which again, you can talk about LaShawn, Deshaun, Nick Foles. Brandon Graham. He had a lot of great talent on that team. His message was just lost. I remember the Chip Kelly years, or the last 2. That was not pretty. And of course, I remember the end of the Doug Peterson era. I've seen a lot of bad Eagles football, but in the beginning of the season, I'm telling you, that was the worst Eagles football I've ever seen in my life. Do you remember that time in Oakland when he declined the penalty when the punt team was trotting on the field and then fucking gave him a first down? Nick ran the ball 3 times in an entire game. The defense couldn't stop anybody if they were going in slow motion. And Jalen Hurts, for as much as I was sitting out here going, Jalen Hurts is going to surprise some people, you watch, you're sleeping on Jalen Hurts. He looked completely lost out there. It seemed like we couldn't get anything right. And this motherfucker's over here talking about flowers? Flowers? Remember the water and fertile? Get the fuck out of here. Remember that shit? And then all of a sudden, they started turning it around. They started growing into themselves. They started maturing right before our very eyes. I don't know what was behind the watering and the fertilizer. I don't know what was in that fertilizer, but all of a sudden they started blossoming into the team that we want them to be, running the ball. I'm not going to say that it was our idea. They listened to us in the stands. Hey, maybe we bullied them into it a little bit. Either way, they started doing what we wanted them to do, right? They started blitzing. They started blitzing, and I'm not going to say it was the fans screaming, do something, blitz, bring pressure, like they were listening to us and said, hey, you know what? Joe in section 111's got a great fucking idea. Maybe we should send a blitz or an extra defender at the quarterback. I'm not saying that was our idea, but all of a sudden they started doing it, and we felt like they were listening. We felt like they started being a reflection of the city that they call home and the fans that absolutely love this team. They never gave up. They kept working hard, and they never quit. And I'm not sure you can ask anything more of this Philadelphia Eagles team in 2021, a year with no expectations. And if I was to go back in time, jump in a DeLorean and go right back to this very spot in early September where I said to you, we're going into the season with no expectations, say, hey, E, guess what ends up happening? They win 9 games. They go to the playoffs. I'm not sure Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback for the next 10 years, but he plays at a level that's good enough to say that he should absolutely be the starter next year. And while the Fire Howie chants and rants and tweets and all that haven't gone away, the volume on that track has significantly been turned down. Fucking sign me up. So yeah, you're goddamn right. I'm proud of these guys. They drive me up a fucking wall in the beginning of the season. They did it for all of us. But I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. And I'm under no illusion that they're going to make any noise in the playoffs. I already got all the haters in my tweets, in my Instagram DMs, in my comment section telling me, hey, they're just going to be one and done. They're just going to be one. We weren't even supposed to be here to begin with. You didn't even think we were going to be here to begin with. What do I give a shit for, right? We're like the broke guy with no money in the strip club. We're just surprised no one kicked us out yet, and we're just happy to be here. And while I have no false expectations or false hopes about what this Philadelphia Eagles team is going to do in the postseason, because in all likelihood it's probably going to come to a very abrupt end, here's what I am hopeful for. This team, who spent the better part of the beginning of the season shooting themselves in their own dick, showed the heart, the resiliency, the drive, and the determination to make the playoffs despite of it. And in this year's NFL draft, we got 3 first-round picks, not to mention all the salary cap room we could ever want to make whatever move we have to make this team better. So while they may have surprised a lot of you this year, which is fair, because they surprised a lot of us as well, if they surprise you next year, that's shame on you. Look at us. Made the playoffs.